When evaluating any type of source, whether you find it through the library or on Google, you want to focus on three main areas: the source of the information, the content or the information you get from the source, and lastly, the author. It's good to look at each of these factors, but depending on the source, some factors will be more important than others. Say you do a Google search for sand fracking and you find this article from About.com. Before you decide this is the perfect source, here are some questions to ask. What exactly is this website About Money? Do you know anything about the source, its reputation? If you don't, you should look for more information about the source. In this case, that info is at the bottom of the page, but it often appears at the top too. You can also search the source name on Wikipedia, which may tell you about a source's known biases. Now let's take a look at another example. Here's a website called SeaWorld Cares. Who is SeaWorld Cares? We don't see any about information at the top of the page. If we scroll down though, we see that SeaWorld Cares is part of the SeaWorld company. So it's a promotional site put out by SeaWorld. Does this mean that SeaWorld doesn't care? Not exactly, but it may mean that this website was created to benefit the SeaWorld company and has some inherent biases as a result. In fact, this website is probably responding to another website called SeaWorld of Hurt. What is SeaWorld of Hurt? We can find out by clicking on About at the top of the page. It turns out that SeaWorld of Hurt is authored by PETA, an influential animal rights organization. It's nice to find a reliable source whose situated ethos you already know, but remember that you can always investigate a source in order to decide whether to include it in your research. For example, you might come across a news article on a website called The Daily Mirror. A quick search on Wikipedia will reveal that you're looking at a British tabloid. Chances are you wouldn't want to be citing that. It's very important that you also scan the actual content. Is it relevant to your research? Is it substantive? Is it current enough given your topic? A lot of information that percolates to the top of Google search results could be classified as nothing more than background information. It may seem appealing and short when you have a lot of work to do, but you'll feel differently when you're writing your paper. Look at this source. It's about a page long. But what would it really give you? Basic knowledge? Or after reading this source, are you now an expert on sand fracking? If you look at it closely, you'll see it just touches on its subtopics, sometimes with only one sentence. Do the authors develop their ethos? Do they refer to specific experiences or examples? Do they seem to be fair when representing other viewpoints, or are they oversimplifying the opposition? A source may have lots of stats and data, but the author also needs to explain what those facts and figures mean. Factual information is important, but you also need sources that offer analysis, theories, or other explanations. The credibility of an author is another important factor in analyzing a source. Sometimes it's easy to find out. For example, many publications print the author's affiliation or even qualifications at the beginning or end of the article. Sometimes you can click on the author's name and see a list of the other articles she has written for the same publication. This may help you find out if a journalist specializes in an area, but remember that many reporters write on diverse topics. In that case, you should focus on the quality of the source and content instead of the specific author's qualifications. Some sources don't have an obvious author. These sources are not necessarily untrustworthy, but they require closer reading and careful investigation of the organization publishing the information. If you remember to focus on the source, content, and author of the information you're researching, you have a strong selection of credible sources that will support your paper effectively. Remember, your goal is to be credible. Selecting your sources diligently is the first step towards this goal.